Hey, Taylor Elwood here, and I thought that for today I would do a review of Atticus, an author's best friend. This is a recent software that was released by the guy who's done Publisher Rocket, and I decided to go ahead and drop $147 down on it in order to pick it up. I did, at this time they don't have affiliate links. I'll admit if they did, I would have an affiliate link drop below because I do like the product. But I'm going to review it anyway because I think it's worthwhile. It is a work in progress, and I want to note that because I think it's really important. Because they're not, it is something that they're still developing. I could see them charging more down the line for this. Let me tell you first why I decided to drop $147 on this. First things first, I use Microsoft Word currently for my word processing, or at least I did up until Atticus here. And the reason I decided to drop $147 is because I didn't want to pay a subscription fee for Word. I currently don't. I have an older version of Word on this computer, but at some point, I mean, hopefully many years from now, this computer will no longer be working at some point, and I'll need a new one. And the nice thing is I can bypass the need to rely upon Word. And I already use Atticus on both this computer and on my laptop. And it's really nice because then I can work on a book regardless of which computer I'm using. My laptop doesn't have Word. And I'd have to pay the subscription fee for Word if I wanted to use it. And the subscription fees add up. So that was one reason I got this. But the other reason I got it is because I was intrigued by the idea of being able to do book formatting in here as opposed to having to do Word. I can do a book layout in Word, and it's pretty easy to do. But again, that's where I have to decide if I really want to keep paying the money. I will say at this point that for $147, I think Atticus is a pretty reasonable fee. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles yet, and they are upfront about that. This is a project which is still being worked on. One thing I like is that you have over here on the right, you have the ability to back up your books. I have two uploaded into here right now. You also have the tutorial space, which will actually, which gets you can ask, or rather, that allows you to ask questions, but then they also do have a tutorial, and of course, they also have a roadmap. I will say I've only gone through a couple of these tutorial videos as of yet. The ones I went through were pretty easy to go through, and the support has been very helpful. I've written them a couple times, given them some suggestions, done some other things, and they've been very helpful. As you can see, when you first load up Atticus, you can either load it up in your browser or you can set it up as a separate application. And I have it set up as a separate application. The one thing to note is that you do need to have internet access in order for Atticus to basically update your work across all versions. But this again is not really all that different from what Microsoft or Apple or any of these other programs are doing, so that's not a bad thing. You can upload a book here, and if you do that, you're just gonna you can put in your title, author, project, and then just drag the file, and then Atticus will pull it up. Alternately, you can simply start a new book from scratch and create the book. I uploaded Walking with Elemental Spirits, and in this case, I came up with the notes for another book that I'm going to work on, and I just popped it into, or I just started a new thing. Very easy to use and very friendly. Right now, you'll notice up here we've got home and then writing and formatting. I'm going to click on Walking with Elemental Spirits, and I'm going to move myself over here. So as you can see, you have front matter, which is the title page, copyrights, table of contents. There is a way to add like a dedication space. You have the body of work, and then if you go down, you have the back matter, which is where you can put in other things. And of course, you can add chapters to different stuff. You can also drag things into here. So as you can see, I drag this into the back matter. So that's really useful. It's click and drag. The word processor here is pretty simple. I mean, if I go, I'm going to go into chapter 2 here, You can add a subtitle, you can add an image if you want, you can insert links, you can do an ornamental break, subheading, bullets, underline, bold. You can also change it where you can have monospace, small caps, strike through. So some of these things are nice to have. You can end notes. You can split a chapter. You can set it up as a block quote. So it's a standard word processor. It does keep track of the number of words that you've written, and you can actually have it by book, chapter, or selection. So that's pretty nice. And then they do have more tools over here, and you can set up a book goal. That kind of gives you like the total word count that you're doing. You can select a due date. You can do writing days, and you can basically then keep track of your word count per day. And then you can also keep track of your deleted words. I'll admit I don't use these features, but you could. And I think that they're pretty nice to have if someone is that particular about it. There you do have a couple other things where it says coming soon. So right now, those are things that you don't really have. We do have the defaults, so you can change your font to Comic Relief. You can change your font if you want. This is not going to go over into the formatting, but it is pretty nice. You can also set up your font size if you want. I'm just going to keep it where it was. You can do your line height, and as you can see, kind of like what I'm changing here, or you could go all the way over to single. You know, whatever makes sense for you. I like that. You can also have it justified. That's pretty nice. So again, these are things that allow you to kind of go with things. Um, I like the thing of the indented. That's kind of nice. It's something that I have been missing from here. So this is a recent feature that they changed in this. And this is just to help you with the actual writing process. I want to note that because I also have a formatting tab. We go into formatting, you have different themes, and you can choose each of those themes. So if we look at this one, we can kind of see what this looks like here, and you can export it. The one thing that I wish they had here is that they made this a little more scrollable. Also, while they have it set up for iPhone, iPad, etc., they don't have it set up with like print, and my one question would be how they handle print formatting. I do like the different types of styles here. What I would love to know though, they have some fonts here, but I'd love to be able to select header fonts. And I don't know that they have that set up yet. Again, that's going to kind of be on me to take a look in their thing. You know, I would say right now that probably at least for the first couple books, I'm going to go back to doing formatting in Word. Just because I know how to do it. But I do like the fact that they have this as an option. And I think, you know, as an author, it's always of interest to me to see this kind of thing because I want to know, like, what is it that they have or don't have. So, you know, I think this is a pretty useful tool. And that's kind of my initial review. You know, for now, I'm still using Word for some things, but and more particularly, I'll probably use it for layout. Now, the one thing that they don't have is you can't export this you can't export it in Mobi, and you can't export it as a document. So that's, again, another thing where you have to be aware of that. What you can do, though, and what I would do is just go into the writing section and then just grab all of this, copy, right click and copy, and then there you go. I'm gonna write. And then you can go from there and pop it into Word. Now, the thing you have to keep in mind is that you're moving it from one program to another, so you might actually have to put it into a text file and strip it out of any formatting here, and then put that over into Word or vice versa. However, again, this is a pretty useful tool. I like it, and I think for $147, it's justified. I'm curious to see what else they develop. The support has been very friendly and helpful, and they seem open to suggestions. So I definitely would recommend it. And I'm using it I'm using it for me. I'm keeping it because I'm like, well, I'm not going to always want to rely upon Word. I mean, I like Word. It works pretty well. It's a decent writing program. I know some people will be horrified by that, but I'm not huge into, you know, just choosing anything. But the fact of the matter is, I like this as a writing program over Word. And I think that as they continue to develop the technology and flesh it out, it'll get even better. I mean, this basically is This is not the complete version of Atticus at this time. They are still developing more resources. And I think that, if you're going to get into it, this is actually a good time to get into it because you're getting in at the ground floor when it's going to be a bit cheaper. Anyway, that's my review, and hopefully you found it helpful.